What's up guys, Rogue9 here. Many thanks to all of you who got in touch throughout Operation Ember Rise to let me know that the in-game fire rate stats for some of the weapons in Rainbow Six Siege had been changed. It has taken me a little while, but I checked over all of the fire rates and can confirm that 3 weapons seem to have been updated at the beginning of the season. The fire rates for Clash's SPSMG-9 and Mozzie's Commando 9 and P10 RONI have all been increased, and in today's video I want to reassess these guns with this new information. Are the new in-game stats accurate, and by how much have each of these guns improved? Let's go and find out. As usual, before we even get into the analysis of these guns with the new fire rates, the first step is to run some tests in a custom game and then manually calculate the fire rates to make sure that the new in-game info is actually accurate. And partially good news, everyone! Clash's SPSMG-9 secondary machine pistol is now supposed to deliver a fire rate of 980 RPM, up almost 9% compared to where the gun was last season, and my tests delivered an average calculated fire rate of 979.63362 RPM, and that's close enough for me. The Commando 9's new fire rate is listed as 780 RPM, exactly 4% quicker than last season, and my calculations give us 779.2342 RPM, so that update is also confirmed. And I guess 2 out of 3 is not that bad, because sadly, the listed new fire rate of 980 RPM for the P10 RONI does not quite match with my calculated rate of 970.257743. It appears that the actual fire rate when you are playing is 10 RPM lower than the in-game stats would have us believe, so this gun has only received a 2% boost instead of the listed 3%. For the remainder of this video, I'm going to use the actual calculated fire rate for the RONI rather than the in-game stat, so 970 it is. This video is sponsored by Moot, a video games community platform that is available on mobile and PC. The Rainbow Six community on Moot has over 275,000 members, so join up to share your best R6 art, memes, guides, or highlight videos. The platform also offers a solid looking for group feature where you can find your new Rainbow Six squad. LFG posts can be filtered by platform, game mode, region, number of players required, the start time for when the group will be available, and whether or not a mic is required. So if you're tired of solo queuing or just want to browse or share some memes or art, go ahead and click the link below to get access to Moot now. Okay, so far so good. We have an 8.9%, 4% and 2.1% boost in fire rate for each of the guns respectively, and since the baseline damage per shot of each gun was not affected, this will of course translate into exactly the same gains in terms of damage per second and the time to down or kill. Let me show you the before and after stats, and let's start out with Clash before we then move on to compare how the changes have affected Mozzie's primaries. The old DPS used to make the SPSMG the weakest out of all of the secondary SMGs, and even after the fire rate boost, this doesn't change. It still has the lowest fire rate, and the damage is not all that great either, so the damage output is still nothing spectacular by comparison. But this is balanced out with slightly better controllability, and that is really important given how this gun technically functions as Clash's primary. And compared to the other primary weapon classes in Siege, the SPSMG comes out looking quite decent. The SPSMG does a good dose more damage than any of the main SMGs and can even keep up with many of the attacker rifles, and that theoretically goes for all ranges, although controllability does become an issue for Clash when your target is further away. When it comes to time to down or kill, the improvement is helpful against level 2 and 3 armor opponents, where Clash's damage stats allow her to increasingly outperform all other weapon classes. The heavier the armor, the better her gun performs compared to other weapons. Against level 1 armor though, she can only outperform the defender primaries while losing out to attackers. The conclusion is that while the new fire rate makes this gun exactly 8.9% better in all respects, it is still only an okay gun rather than an amazing one. Now over to Mozzie. Back when he first came out, I ran one of my regular loadout meta videos where I compared both of his primaries, and my conclusion back then was that for most players the Commando 9 was the better choice. If you want the full breakdown of that analysis, a link to the video is in the top right hand corner now and also coming up in the end card. As I pointed out in the Mozzie video, both of these guns are exceptional, and the superior fire rate and ADS time mean that the RONI holds some advantages over the Commando. But the Commando hits harder, needs less shots to down or kill, has quicker times to down or kill, and comes with 6 extra bullets in each mag. If we check the DPS and TTK for both guns, we can see that before the Ember Rise update, the Commando already had a bit of an advantage against most armor types and at most ranges, and now that it's had a bit more of a boost than the RONI, those advantages are just that little bit greater. To be fair though, these differences are not massive by any stretch. Maybe 2 frames less to down or kill an opponent at 120 frames per second, and only 1 frame if you're on 60 FPS. But nevertheless, the advantage is there, and now just that little bit greater still. So in terms of a conclusion, I would say that the Ember Rise fire rate updates don't drastically change the picture, but simply reinforce my earlier conclusion that the Commando just about edges out the win in the hands of most players. Fire rate is a really powerful factor though, and as long as you are consistent in terms of hitting headshots, then all of these other considerations might not really be all that important to you. Which of these guns is your favorite? Vote in the poll in the top right hand corner now. I will be gathering the results of these polls and will be sharing them on my Instagram, rogue.9.r6, so follow me there to see the results. And that's it. Thanks to everyone who pointed out these new fire rates. I've updated my online spreadsheet, so feel free to dig deeper into the stats at your leisure. Many thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next episode.